I I thank all of you once again for joining us today. I am Sadia Tanveer. I'll be your host for the event along with Rabia Umar, who will be co-hosting with me. So I am currently a PhD scholar at University of Oulu, Finland, and Rabia is currently pursuing her PhD from Indiana University, Bloomington. So now I would like to call upon the current chair, Sachin Gupta, to welcome and introduce our guest for today.
Hi everyone, my name is Sachin Gupta. I am currently co-chair of Associate Global Scholar Award with Sajjad Sheikh. I welcome you all for joining today. Uh, so I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Professor Wasim Ahmed, who is ex-dean of the Faculty of Life Science and is also the director of the Academic Program Committee of Aligarh Muslim University. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining today. Very welcome. I would also like to welcome Mohammad Waqaruddin Siddiqui. Waqar is an SSGSA scholar of 2019-20 and has done his bachelor's in industrial chemistry from Aligarh and then from master's in molecular chemistry from France. And he is also a PhD student in France now. So thank you
Thank
for
you, Sajin.
Waqar. Yeah, very welcome. So before I hand over to Sadi Appi, I would like to take this opportunity as a chair to assure you all that when you apply and get selected, SSGSA will give its best uh, to support you in all sorts of things, like including finances or mentorship. So yeah, please apply for this program, and we'll be talking very soon what program is all about. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sachin. So let's get started finally with the event now. So today's event is for the faculties of Life Sciences, Agriculture, Agricultural Sciences, and Medicine. So Sir Syed Global Scholar Awards was founded in 2006 by Dr. Shahida Andrabi, Dr. Rehan Bakri, Mr. Syed Ali Rizvi, and Dr. Saf Sheikh. And our first batch was in 2007. Ever since then, it has been running successfully with the help of advisors, alumni associations, donors, supporters, and volunteers. So what do we provide? SSGSA provides a personalized mentorship for higher education abroad, and we also provide the financial support for the application process. Up until now, we have around 145 success stories based in more than 22 countries. So how competitive and productive SSGSA is? As one can see from the graphs, over the years, the number of applicants has increased tremendously, and so does the number of awardees, but we are still like aiming for more. And as for the number of successful awardees compared to the number of successful stories as compared to the awardees, it's like we have achieved quite a good success over the years. Our scholars are based in almost all the major continents in the world: Canada, United States, Europe, Australia. As I already mentioned, 145 success stories based in 110 universities in 22 countries. So that's quite a success. So whenever one applies for admissions in the foreign universities, the basic requirements are the academic transcripts, standardized tests like GRE, TOEFL. One has to write a statement of purpose, get a letter of recommendation from the professors. Also prepare a nice curriculum vitae. Things that are not mandatory but encouraged include research work or work experience, some extracurricular activities, or social or volunteer engagements. So if one applies for like for a degree in US, the graduate application timeline starts from June, where one starts preparing for the GRE, and it lasts almost like till August next year when they start packing their bags to move to US. So in the meantime, one has to take GRE, TOEFL, start applying to the universities, work on their CV, SOP, LOR, and then once they have received the admission offer letter, they start applying for the visa process, and that will take some time. And once they have received the visa, one can move to the US. So how does SSGSA works after selection? First of all, we provide one-on-one mentoring which helps every scholar in making a personalized plan. They evaluate the monthly progress, they address the standardized test issues, and then they help them with the university application and all the questions related to that. We also provide financial assistance, which covers the expense of a standardized test like GRE or TOEFL. And we also pay for the full university application related fees for 5 graduate programs. Once you have started applying, we provide application support, which includes providing preparatory materials for the standardized test. And we also help and review and help to finalize the application materials like resume, application essays, etc. Once you have received the offer letter, we also help in networking. Like if you are moving to a city in certain part of the country, certain part of the world, we try to find out if there is already AMU alumni, they're based there, and we'll try to connect you with them. And they also help you with all the different things. So as of now, we already know that our application for the application cycle 2023-24 has already started on 14th of Jan, and it will be open till 14th of Feb. So I request all of you, all the students who are eligible, to kindly apply. Thank you. And now I would like to call upon Professor Wasim Ahmed Sahab to say a few words. So,
okay, Sadia, thank you.
You can stop sharing your screen.
yeah, it's just 1 minute. Yeah, sorry for the glitch.
Okay, Sadia, thank you very much. Dr. Of course, Ali Rizvi Saab is still there, I think. Dr. Rehan, and then Sachin and Haris and all the executive members of Sir Syed Educational Society. Of course, Sir Syed Educational Society of North America is doing really a tremendous job in helping our students in getting admission in best universities of the world. This Sir Syed Global Scholar Award, which is the initiative of the society. Of course, as you told, it started way back in 2006 itself, and of course, more than 100 students have been benefited through this program. Gradually, of course, if we see with change in time, gradually the students are, of course, becoming interested in applying for research in foreign universities, especially the Western world. Of course, some of them are nowadays taking admission in Japan, Korea, and China also. But of course, the Western world is more preferred, whether it is North America or France or Germany or England. And their first preference is generally US and Canada, because once the student go there, with majority of them, of course, try to settle themselves. So the first choice is always US and Canada for those students. Of course, the idea behind this program is to encourage the students to apply. Generally, our students, I don't know why, but they are generally very hesitant in applying outside. And even what it's not only the students. I always say, even my colleagues and teachers, they are most of the time they are very hesitant in applying for different scholarship for short visits to Europe and US. For about since 90s. I have been visiting several European laboratories in Germany, in England, in France, in Belgium, in for quite a long time in Spain, and then in 20s, most of the time I was in Japan and China and Korea. China, I visit almost every year. So what I see is you come across people over there, but generally the North Indians are very limited over there also. You will be getting Indians, but they will be mostly South Indians. Very few North Indians you will be getting. Either you move around in Europe or even in East Asia, very few South Indians are there. So we have to change that trend. Why the North Indians are not applying? I'm not talking here about whether it is the Muslims or non-Muslims, whoever. Generally, the North Indians are very, very restricted in these countries. In South India, especially in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, there is a trend. If one of them goes, he at least he is able to catch a few people behind him. If one person from a lab goes, or a postdoc or a PhD, of course, you can expect few students behind him to be coming in the same lab. The kind of help which this SSGSA provides, that is very important. Of course, the students have basically two problems. Some of them are financially very weak. That's why they say, okay, I have to pay for about 50,000-20,000 rupees for GRE and then for TOEFL and then for applying for different universities. Sometimes they are hesitant, but that is taken care of by our this SSGSA. And then they are hesitant in appearing these dates itself. बहुत मुश्किल है, TOEFL, it's become very difficult, and GRE is very difficult, and that's why they don't apply. But in recent years, the change has come, and that change should be there in biological sciences, because there is a lot of scope in biological sciences, especially for postdocs. There is lots of scope, but even for masters and PhD, lots of scope is there. The Americans and North Americans are taking Indians and Chinese as postdoc because they are being treated as cheap laborers. I'm very frank in saying that the Indians and Chinese are being taken there as cheap laborers, and an Indian will go and work 7/24. An American will work for 4.5 days. On Friday at 12 o'clock, he will be saying, okay, have a nice weekend, and he will disappear. So a professor wants, okay, it's better to take an American or a Chinese or an Indian. He will be working for 6 or 7 days full. But the kind of support which this scholarship program is providing, because I had to do a lot of work when my son was applying for Canada. Especially writing SOP and resume, it is very, very difficult. It is very tricky. You have to write SOP in such a way that in just one look, because you have to write SOP in about 500 words, in just one look, to the professor in front of whom this SOP is there, he says, okay, it seems that this boy is really interested in working. What they want is, of course, his area of research is okay, important, because the SOP will go to a professor who is in that area. What you are writing in that 500 words, that is very difficult, very important, and that help comes from your this SSGA. SSGA is providing. I heard this one of the lectures given by Rehan in your website, and of course he very nicely explained how you have to write SOP, as well as your resume should be very attractive. You have to have, of course, there are lots of things with you. You have lots of ideas, but you are not able to present those ideas before the committee. So you have to be very critical in presenting those ideas before the committee. Okay, this guy is, of course, looks dynamic, and it seems he will be able to do some good work in my lab, because every professor, whether you a graduate student is going in his lab or a PhD student is going in, what he wants is, he wants work. He wants that if a boy is there in my lab, he should be able to go give some good papers. He should be able to do some good work. That's why only then he will be choosing you, because as you all know, and I'm talking to the I don't know how many students are connected today, because the competition is very tough. I don't think more than 15 to 20% of students are selected, but you should not be discouraged that okay, only 15 to 20% will be connected. If you are really interested, and if you really apply in a nice way, of course your CGP will be good, should be good. It's not that your CGP is 6 or just 6.5 or 7, and you apply and you want that you should get your CGP should always be, of course, above 7 or around 8 or 8.5 or 9, and then the chances will be there, because there will be lots of candidates of almost the same CGP or better CGP. But it is not only the CGP which works. there may be a candidate with 9 CGP, but his SOP or resume may not be very good. At least his SOP may not be, his resume will be good, but his SOP may not be very good. So in first hand of professor will say, okay, he may be getting good marks in the examinations, but it does assume there is no flame in him that he can burn my lamp in my lab. So that kind of thing should be there. I would of course suggest all the students, and that we are doing, of course, in our MSc class also. Of course, I retired this year. I give you just one example how to develop enthusiasm in our students. In life sciences, Sachin, you are from chemistry or physics. In life sciences, in zoology or in biochemistry or in botany, on average, every year, 3 to 4 students used to qualify for NET JRF. NET JRF, you know very well. When I took charge as chairman, in zoology, I saw for last 3, 4, 5 years, there are 2 students, 3 students were only qualifying NET. I said, we have to make some changes. What I did is, on the very first month itself, I called a meeting of all those students who were JRF in the department. They were those who have already qualified JRF, either CSIR JRF or DBT JRF or ICMR JRF, and those students who are going to appear this year. I said, let's have a meeting with those who have already qualified and those who are appearing. And they had discussion. And then I said, okay, every Saturday afternoon we will have a meeting. One of the selected one will give a lecture, and he will be talking about कहाँ पे कमी है, किस चीज पे जोर देना चाहिए, किस चीज पे जोर देना. Can you imagine? By third year, when I left in 2019 as chairman, by that time 150 students from my department had qualified NET and GATE. So we have to encourage those students. Okay, you have energy, but you are getting okay. अरे यार admission नहीं होगा, बहुत difficult है भाई to apply. That is general trend in Aligarh. क्यों apply करो भाई, छोड़ो, बहुत मुश्किल है, admission होता नहीं है, यहीं पे ले लो, 8,000 रुपए scholarship मिलेगी और लैब सुबह जाया करेंगे, 10 बजे उठेंगे हॉस्टल में और जाएंगे, थोड़ा सा टेस्ट ट्यूब घुमाया, फिर चले जाएंगे लंच करने, फिर आएंगे, 5 साल में सर PhD तो हो ही जाएगी. That is the general trend. 5 साल में तो PhD हो ही जाएगी. But we have to change that trend. Until unless we change that trend, there will be no progress. So that change, I tell to my students also, being still, of course, after retirement, I am looking after the academic program of the university. I am saying to the teachers also that let us encourage the at least science students. I am not talking about what is being done in psychology or sociology or Hindi or political science, but at least science students should spend more and more time in the labs. There was a time in science faculty. If you move around at 2 in the night or at 1 o'clock in the night, most of the labs you will be seeing open. When we were doing PhD in 70s or even in 80s, 12 बजे, 1 बजे, 2 बजे रात तक लैब खुलना कोई मायने नहीं रखता था. ज्यादा आप घूम जाइए, zoology डिपार्टमेंट, बॉटनी डिपार्टमेंट, फिजिक्स डिपार्टमेंट, केमिस्ट्री डिपार्टमेंट, लैब्स खुली रहती थी. और हमारे सुपरवाइजर शमीम जराजपुरी साहब थे, हमारी लैब किसी ने कभी बंद नहीं देखा था. यूज्ड टू 24 घंटे खुले रहते, क्योंकि 1-2 लड़के ऐसे थे जो दिन में सोते थे, रात में काम करते थे. तो इट यूज्ड टू रिमेन ओपन. अलीगढ़, आप लोग तो बहुत जूनियर, अलीगढ़ में सुना होगा कि एक जमाने में दादरी कांड हुआ था 1978 में. वी वर डूइंग PhD. आपके zoology के लॉन्च देखिए, बॉटनी लॉन्च देखिए, केमिस्ट्री, वहां पे PSC बैठी हुई थी. इवन एट दैट टाइम वी यूज्ड टू कम टू द लैब. PSC मौजूद होती थी, हम लोग खिड़की से कूद के लैब के अंदर आते थे, काम करते थे, और PSC वाले भी जानते थे ये काम करने आए लड़के, और हम लोग कूद के बाहर बंद करके, ऊपर से लगता था गेट में ताला बंद है. सो दैट थिंग शुड कम इन. आज के क्या होता है, लड़का 4 बजे चला जाता है, प्रोफेसर 5 बजे छोड़ के जाता है. So I always tell my students or to all the MSc students that you have come to Aligarh, you are representing. Once you make your career, you will be not only making your career, there is a chain will be coming behind you. A chain will be coming behind you. So you have to make your career, and that will help other students also. जैसे कि आप लोग वहां पहुंच गए, आज वहां से हेल्प कर रहे हैं, लड़कों को कोशिश कर रहे हैं ये लड़के हमारे अट्रैक्ट होकर यहाँ पे आए पढ़े. आप एक लड़के को बुला रहे हैं तो ये मत समझिए कि आप यू आर हेल्पिंग वन, यू आर हेल्पिंग ए फुल फैमिली, और उसके जरिए हो सकता है 4, 5, 6 लड़के और आए. So you are helping a whole generation. So this global scholar award, this is helping the whole generation of course AMU alumni, whole generation of AMU alumni. आज इसका दरअसल अभी तो आप कहते हैं 120 लोगों को हमने हेल्प किया है. इसके ये चेन जो चलेगी ना, तो आगे चल के हजारों लड़के हैं इसके थ्रू एक चेन बन जाएगी. इनकी एक अलग एक अलुमनाई कमेटी इनकी बन जाएगी, एक अलग ग्रुप एक हो जाएगा, SSGA alumni, and it will be a very big group represented in North America or in European countries, Western European countries, or maybe some in Japan or Korea, because lots of people are going nowadays in Korea also. My daughter is in Korea. She did his PhD from here. She's a postdoc in Korea. So there are lots of scope there also. In Science City, I worked for 2 years in Japan, and there is also lots of scope through JSPS. Our students can apply for JSPS also. JSPS is very good, or Mombosha is a very good fellowship in Japan. Mombosha for PhD admissions, JSPS for postdoc. They are very, very important fellowships, and our students should apply for that also. बाकी तो आप लोग मेहनत कर ही रहे हैं, हेल्प कर रहे हैं स्टूडेंट्स की. I of course congratulate both the society as the Educational Society, as well as the Global Scholar Award Committee, Executive Committee, for the kind of help they are providing to the students. And I'm sure this will go in a very long way in helping our students in getting higher degrees from the Western world, because there is a craze for Western world. बातें आजकल हिंदुस्तान में बहुत हो रही हैं कि वेस्टर्न यूनिवर्सिटीज हमारे हिंदुस्तान में आएंगी और ये होगा, इस होने वाला कुछ नहीं है. आई एम वेरी ब्लंट इन सेइंग दोस थिंग्स. गवर्नमेंट तो कह रही है ना कि वेस्टर्न यूनिवर्सिटीज आएंगी और यहाँ आएंगी, कुछ होने वाला नहीं. Our students will go, and they should get higher education, they should get good education from there, and try to help others also. So for those participants who are there attending this program, I rather request them that they must apply in this program. They must apply in this program, getting funding for GRE, TOEFL, or IELTS, as well as getting funding for application in 5 universities. It is a very, very big help which this SSGA is providing to the students. So I encourage all of them, or I request all of them that they must apply for this project. Okay, Sachin.
Thank you, Wasim Saab. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wasim sir, for your very elaborate and informative speech. We at SSGSA surely aim to bring out.
It is not a speech, Sadia. It is just simple discussion. There is nothing like a speech.
Of course, but of course, your encouraging words are very important for us. We at SSGSA surely aim to bring out the best in every elite and help them in aiming for the stars, which of course is not possible without the encouragement and support from teachers like you. So thank you very much once again. I would like to call upon Rehan Bhai to say a few words for Wasim sir.
नहीं, बहुत शुक्रिया Dr. Wasim Ahmed Saab. I mean, and this has been a really very inspiring few words जो आपने share किए students के साथ. देखिए, I think you said all the right things that students need to hear. That passion and commitment are the key, right? I mean, you have to have that passion. And SSGSA जो है Sir Syed Global Scholar Award, I mean, that was initially thought of as only, and it still is, what we believe is just a catalyst, right? It is not going to change the direction of everyone's lives if you don't care for it. Only students who are passionate about it, they're motivated, they want to do some things on their own. SSGSA can be a catalyst. It can help you unleash that potential, right? It can help you take to the next level. But you need to have that passion. You need to have that spark, that fuel and we can only help you. So this is for every student that is, aspiring to build not just a research career, but just in general, a career of, in science and technology, a career that will potentially help to transform this world in a better way, will help to potentially improve the lives of people around you, not just people around in the world that is vague and ambiguous, but जैसे वसीम अहमद साहब ने कहा कि एक स्टूडेंट की जिंदगी चेंज होती है तो उसके फैमिली की जिंदगी चेंज हो जाती है, उनके रिश्तेदारों की जिंदगी चेंज हो जाती है, the trajectory of their families and their neighbors and their neighborhoods change. And I think that is something that all of you need to be to really think of as you are embarking on your careers, that there is a burden of helping others, that you should take the help of SSGSA, go on, live a fulfilling and enriched life, and then go on and help others in their journey as well. So I just want to thank Professor Wasim Ahmad Saab for his kind words of encouragement and motivation. And obviously the SSGSA organizing committee has a great program put together. So Sadia, I will turn it back to you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Rehan Bhai. Now I would like to call upon Waqaruddin Siddiqui to share his life experiences and experiences with SSGSA. Waqar, up to you now.
Hey, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Sadia Api, for letting me share my experiences and express my gratitude towards SSGSA, what I owe since long time. So before coming to my story, I would like to let our new viewers know that SSGSA, besides being an incredible association, they are unique in its own way because it's been more than 2 years I'm in France, and I've got to interact with people from different countries. And when I tell them about my experience of being in France and how SSGSA played a key role in me being here, so they just get amazed because they have never seen or they have never heard of any such alumni association that is putting in so much of effort for its junior back in India to bring them to Europe, US, Canada, or in different countries. And so this is really like very unique. And of course, all the effort, like all the credit goes to the founding members and all those members who carried out the legacy with absolute excellence over these years. So I would like to thank them all on the behalf of all the SSGSA scholars. So now sharing my story, before coming to AMU for my BSc, I took 3-year consecutive drops for pre-medicine examinations. So as Wasim Saab was telling that people in North India, they don't apply much to the foreign schools. So I believe that one reason is that we have the belief that we want to stay in this cycle of either medicine, IIT, or the government jobs. This is, let's say, very popular among the UP Bihar belt, so where I come from. So when I came to Aligarh, I was really hopeless about my future. I didn't have any purpose. My family was asking me to go for UPSC, but after failing in NEET for 3 years, can you imagine that going for UPSC could be in my head? No way. So I really didn't know what to do, and that was really a bad phase. And everyone started questioning your credibility. And yeah, I just don't. I mean, I don't want to recall that phase. So I remember in the BSc first year when Suhail Sabir sir, he was taking his class, and then he told us about SSGSA and how they are helping the elite community to study abroad. So I think that was the first time I thought that, okay, maybe this is what I should do. And after that, I approached Suhail sir several times in his office to seek more information, to seek more guidance. And thanks to him that he entertained me each time, despite his busy schedule. And he let me know about SSGSA, and then I visited the website. I read things about it, and then in the next year, in 2019, I was in the second year of my BSc, so I decided to apply for SSGSA. And during the application process, there were some scholars who were already selected in SSGSA from last year. They helped me, and the application process itself is, let's say, well structured because when I was applying, I really got the feeling that I'm like, it's like the real application for a university. You have to write an SOP, you have to make your CV, and then you go and face an interview. So the way they have structured it, it is very close to the real application in US or European university. So this is a very beautiful thing about SSGSA applications. So after this, I got selected, and I would say I was very fortunate because that was the last year when SSGSA was awarding to the 3-year UG students, because the very next year in 2020, they changed the policy and they stopped giving this award to the people who were in BSc, BCom or BA. So I was the last student in that sense who got this award in BSc second year. So yeah, since I got the award, I was given 2 mentors, Atiur Rahman Bhai and Mohsin Khan Bhai. So right from the beginning, they were always there for me. They took interest into my interest, where I want to apply or what I want to pursue, and also the strategy for application. And most importantly, which we always talk about, the 2 important factors of SSGSA, the financial assistance and the mentorship. So both of them were very important for me, because me coming from a very humble family, paying the TOEFL fees or preparation or the fees of Magoosh portal, which we need for the preparation, was really a burden for me. And if it was not for SSGSA, I would say I wouldn't have been here for sure. So yeah, and my mentors, they helped me. And I remember that I was so naive at that time that I didn't knew how to structure a formal email. So I remember my mentors, and beside them Wasikul Islam Bhai, who was the chair then. He took interest and like he told me how to do these small things. So SSGSA, I would say, it's not just helping you studying abroad, rather it's helping you evolve your personality. And it's a kind of personality development program. It's a kind of that. So when I really got accepted in 2020 in a couple of universities in France and Finland, and I was very hopeful about moving to France, and then we had COVID. And that situation made me really hopeless, and I lost all the hopes that I would be able, like, I started thinking that maybe I won't be able to study abroad now. And then Sadia Api was there, who's the host today. She was always there for me, and she took time from her busy schedule, like helping me and like motivating me, cheering me up that no, don't lose your hope, can still be there. And yeah, fortunately, alhamdulillah, in like upcoming months, I was able to come to France. And when I arrived to France, when you move to a new country with a new language, with a different culture, there are a lot of challenges which you face. And here also SSGSA comes into picture. So 2 of the SSGSA scholars, Feroz Khan and Faisal Bashir Wani, they were already in the same university where I was going. So when I went there, so they helped me with small things like finding accommodation or finding the right place to get the grocery and getting health insurance. These things might look small now, but when you are new in a country, these are the big challenges. So yeah, SSGSA family members were there in their individual capacity. They helped me a lot. And during my master, I remember that when I was going to choose the topic of my master thesis, and even even for the PhD application, I was very confused with everything, and I didn't know how to move with it. So Mohsin Qazi Bhai and Mudassir Yatu Bhai, they were there for me. Like they helped me, they guided me in this regard. So having said all these things, I strongly believe that I have enough reasons to call SSGSA my family, because they have always been there for me throughout the process and where I am today. So, I would recommend everyone who is considering studying abroad as a career option to choose SSGSA and see what we have to offer you, and seek. And like, it is definitely a boon for the early community. I mean, we should avail the benefit what is present there, and the amount of effort our alumni they are putting in. So finally, before wrapping up, I would just say that since we have resource limitations, so it's obvious that not everyone will be awarded. There will be only few people who will come to the final list. But for those who fail to make it to the final list, I would say them, I want to assure them that SSGSA family will still be there for you, to guide you, to help you if you need it. So that's all from my part. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Waqar, for sharing your wonderful story. This always makes me feel so amazing to know that how SSGSA has played such positive roles in the life of every scholar. So thank you once again for joining us today. Now I would like to
just Sadia, just I will add one thing to my students who are interested in applying. They will be saying, okay, after getting fees for applying, what about the fee when we or tuition fees and other charges which they will have to pay if they are coming from a very humble family? What are the chances of getting funding for that? Okay, the SSGA is helping in applying for 5 universities. SSGA helping in GRE and TOEFL, etc. But once you get a admission letter from the university, the tuition fees and the accommodation, etc. Does the SSGA help in any way? If somebody is coming from very humble family.
So Wasim sir, most of the PhDs in US and Europe, they are fully funded. You don't have to pay even a single penny. And you
Yeah,
also...
about master's students. I'm saying of master's students.
Oh, okay, I see. So
they're going for masters.
Some of the masters are also funded, but you know, so I mean, I personally suggest people coming from humble background, they can apply for PhD directly because you know.
No. If suppose he has done BTech, he will going for masters. Or nowadays, it's from next coming years, it will be 4-year BSc here. Also, they can apply for masters. So I would say that there is still possibility. There are lots of positions of research assistant and teaching assistants are there. Because the same thing happened with my son. He went there in the very first semester itself. He got a teaching assistant position. He went for masters. So there are in lots of university teaching research assistant and teaching assistant positions. So that must be told to these students that is don't worry for that. There is every possibility that you will be getting teaching assistant or research assistant positions. So they should not be okay. हमें तो पैसा GRE का मिल गया और उसका मिल गया, हम एडमिशन का पैसा कहाँ से जमा करेंगे या बाकी खर्च कहाँ से आएगा? So we must tell these students that there is always a possibility, and majority of the cases they get teaching assistant and research assistant positions, and that is sufficient enough for survival in those countries. That is there. ज़्यादातर जो स्टूडेंट जा रहे हैं उनको टीचिंग असिस्टेंट या रिसर्च असिस्टेंट फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर में अगर नहीं मिलता सेकंड सेमेस्टर में तो मिल ही जाता है. So they should be encouraged in that way also, that they should not worry for that. हो सकता है पहले झटके में एडमिशन के बाद कुछ पैसा खर्च हो जो फीस जमा करनी हो पहली, उसके बाद there is always a possibility that you will be getting. There are lots of possibility of getting funding for their stay in these countries. क्योंकि बहुत से लड़के होंगे कि अरे हमारे बहुत हम्बल बैकग्राउंड है, चलो एसएसजी है तो हमें हेल्प कर देगा, आगे हम कहाँ से खर्च करेंगे. So they must be told that there is a possibility that they will be getting funding for that. PhD के लिए तो स्कॉलर फेलोशिप मिल जाती है, there is no problem.
So master के लिए I would like to add that master के लिए अगर like if you look into the European schools, so recently in past years, like especially in France, almost all the programs in life science, chemistry, physics, there is some funding, like always. Like
the European universities, if you have a Erasmus Mundus fellowship, there is no problem. You get Erasmus Mundus funding is there. Major funding from in European is through Erasmus Mundus. So if you are in a master's program through Erasmus Mundus, there is no problem. You get the funding there also. But there are many other programs where there is problem.
So I think we can have more discussion about this because there are more scholarship programs besides Erasmus Mundus. Like even for me, I was studying in a master, it was not funded by Erasmus. So there are, I think, a lot of programs in that domain. We can have a discussion on this if our juniors back in India, our friends, they need help in this.
Yeah, sure, Waqar, we will contact you and you can give a kind of presentation about that.
I think it's safe to add that if a student is hardworking, there is always enough chances for them.
Yeah.
So anyway, I would like to call upon now Rabia to walk us through the application process. And I request everyone in the audience, if you have any sort of questions, please type it in the chat box. We will be addressing them at the end of the event. Rabia.
Thank you, Sadiapi. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I would like to extend another welcome to Professor Ahmed, SSGSA senior members and scholars and everyone else that is connected through Zoom virtually. My name is Rabia Omar, and as Sadiapi said, I am an SSGSA scholar from the year 2020, and I'm here to give a brief review of the application process. Starting off from where Professor Ahmed left, it is quite intimidating, the application process, but some of the intimidation can be tackled if we know how the application process works. So the application process can be broken down into 4 simple stages. The first is the online application, where the students who are interested apply through the SSGSA website. On the application portal, they will be prompted to submit various documents like CV, other necessary documents, some of which Sadiapi mentioned in her presentation earlier, and a few essays. The second step is the application review, where these applications are independently reviewed by a panel of experts, and from which the top 5 to 10% are selected for the next stage, which is the interview. The third step, which is the interview, is basically conducted by a panel, which is chaired by various professors from esteemed US universities, some of the SSGSA executive team members, as well as some of the SSGSA senior scholars. The interviewee or the students are judged on 3 basic things. The first is the application that the student has submitted earlier on the first stage. The second is the motivation that the student displays throughout the interview and is reflected in the application itself. And the third, most important, is the academic record and the excellence. At the end of this interview stage, around 25 students are awarded the scholarship provisionally in the final stage. To be able to apply for the SSGSA scholarship, it is important to understand whether the student is eligible in the first place. And here is a brief recap of the same. So it is the first criteria is that the students should have completed or be enrolled in one of the programs at Aligarh Muslim universities. It could be a high school program, a senior secondary program, a diploma program, a bachelor's or a master's degree. For a 4-year bachelor's program or a 5-year bachelor's program, the student must either be in their final year or in their penultimate year, which is the year before the final. If it is a 3 years bachelor's degree program, it is important that the students have finished the 3 years bachelor's program and are enrolled in the first year or the final year of master's program. Another thing to note is that all those students who are hoping to apply wish to end up being enrolled in a master's program or a PhD program at a university of international repute outside of India within the next 2 years, because the validity of the scholarship is for 2 years only. Some of the examples would include if it is a 4-year undergraduate program, like BTech, BE, the student is either in his 3rd year or his or her 3rd year or 4th year or has completed the course itself. If it's a 5-year undergraduate program like BArch or BALLB, the student must either be in 4th year or 5th year or have completed the course. If it is a 3-year bachelor's degree program like BA, BSc, BCom, it is important that the students are enrolled in a master's program, first or final. Next is a detailed layout of how the stage 1, which is the application, works when you're trying to apply for SSGSA scholarship. The first step is to create an account with your email and contact number on the SSGSA website, which you will be later verifying it. And it is important that you use an active email because this will be the point of contact between you and the SSGSA team in the future as well. The step 1 is where the students are providing their personal information. Step 2 is where the students will provide their academic information. Step 3 and 4 is where the students will be providing information about their research experience or work experience, which they have gathered over the course of time or their academic enrollment. Step 5 is poster presentations and workshops attended. The instructions will be mentioned when you will reach these steps on the application portal. I would like to emphasize again that research and work experiences, including poster and workshops, are all, they are not mandatory, but they're highly encouraged. Step 6 is where the students will be giving information about their participation in curricular activities, which is basically all those participations that complement your discipline, your major, or your field of study. Step 7 is participation in extracurricular activities, which is all those activities which fall out of the sphere of your major, your discipline. Step 8 is essays question, where the instructions will be provided when you will reach this particular step on the application portal. If the student feels that there is some other information that they would want to inform those who are reviewing the application, this is the step where you will be providing the information. The final step is the review and submit. A detailed walkthrough of the application process can be found on the SSGSA YouTube channel, and I would request that the link of the same be put up in the chat box so that the students can access it later. You can find us on various social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. We also have a YouTube channel which is named Sir Syed Global Scholar Award SSGSA, where you can find various videos of events like these, as well as many preparatory videos and workshops that we've conducted, catering various needs of the scholars. You can contact us for any queries or doubts through multiple ways. The first is you can fill out a contact form on the website, which is ssgsa.us. You could contact the chair by emailing at chair@ssgsa.us. You could write us any email concerning, focused on any doubts, query by writing us an email on contact@ssgsa.
Thanks, Sadia. Thank you, Professor Wasim Saab, for your presence here. I would like to thank you for focusing a light on academic integrity, which is a much needed thing for any success in any school, not just the graduate school. And thank you, Rehan Bhai, for re-stressing on it and telling us about how one educated person in a family can just start a chain of reaction like an atom bomb and spread the light of the goodness of education for the entire generation, which would be coming after that person. Mohammad Waqar, thank you again for sharing your success story with us all. Your success story is different in a bit from other batch of SSGSA because it was not just a fight to get into graduate school, but it was a fight against a global pandemic. And it's a testimony that this program came out successfully in a hard time like COVID-19, and it's just a testimony to the resilience of this program. Rabia, thank you so much for the detailed walkthrough through application process. Just in case if anybody has question about application, just write to any member of SSGSA. We have been sharing the email and the contacts in the chat boxes. You can contact us anytime. And if you don't know, we have a detailed YouTube video of how to apply to the program. You can go and visit it. It's like 5 minutes video and it is very helpful. It literally walks you through step by step on each application perspective. Thank you, Sadia again for hosting our outreach event. I think this is our last outreach event for this application cycle. I wish everyone the best. There are a lot of people who have been working on the background who are not in this event, who are responsible again for the success of this program, such as Azhar. He's been handling all